Hit the lights!
You've discovered the Halfwatt podcast. We want to educate and entertain by tapping into the most trusted source of new technology, the ones installing and innovating it. You, the tradespeople that build from the ground up. Join us as we talk with industry leaders, veteran contractors, and even some young blood.
Welcome aboard. All right, for the round table today, I have Jessica Clawson.
Hello.
Hello. And we'll talk about how I know Jessica in just a second. And Colton Reyes.
Hi.
Hola. Okay. So, full disclosure, Colton and I, we've done an interview, and I asked him to stay over for the round table. And real quick, before I forget, I want the listeners to know, okay, how you got in this industry. And then I'm going to do the same thing for you. So start off.
Luck.
Okay, that was easy.
It was rough. It was actually rough. I went to school to become an auto mechanic.
Mm-hmm. As you do.
Not a diesel mechanic, an auto mechanic. And I had some unfortunate experiences, and it left me pretty bummed. And I didn't know what to do, so I sat around for months not knowing what to do. Pretty hard time. And then one of our church friends told me to get into the apprenticeship program.
Talk about that. Talk about who.
Yeah.
Which church
His
friend?
name is Jeremy Boss.
Okay.
We both attended the church called Resonate in Sherwood, Oregon. And so he said, just here's an application, apply.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be working, with electrical systems. And I was like, sweet. I already worked with electrical systems on cars. I have that mentality. I love doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do it just in a different way. And so I applied, got in, and then that's how I got into Point Monitor as well, because he's the husband of the niece of Mark Higgins.
There you go. So you knew somebody who helped you get in, and of course Mark is responsible for bringing probably a third of the apprentices through the system. There's one way or another.
So many
Point Monitor folks. So that's awesome. I appreciate that. Okay, Jessica. Now I know Jessica. Well, actually, I just met Jessica, but I know everybody in her family but Jessica. Mm-hmm. So full disclosure, Tyler, who is here with our podcast, he's the guy who's running everything for us tonight. Tyler was one of my students. Another one of my students was his brother, right? Who I also worked with at Western, and then he came and worked with me at PSI.
Okay.
So Randy.
Yeah.
Then Corey was hired at PSI, and he was a tech for a while, and then he moved over to more of a sales role. And so I worked beside Corey for a long time. I like Corey's funny. He's one of the few people who can make me laugh all the way to the floor. And then he left and went to the coast, and that's where you come in. So pick that up.
Well, I brought Corey to the coast. I've been working.
Oh, you brought him to the coast.
Yeah,
you're the one that made him go to the coast.
Yeah,
Corey?
I stole Corey. We were looking for. It's so hard to find any LEA that wants to come out, and a lot of people will just travel from the valley over. And it never works out or hasn't worked out. So I told Corey there was an opportunity if he wanted it. And it just worked out.
And so he had worked for first response. So he had like security, camera knowledge, fire alarm knowledge.
Yeah. A lot of what my boss wanted to bring over, Corey had.
Nice.
And I had told him really early on, and he kind of poo-pooed it off. But it was just like here and there, I'd be like, well, you have a job if you want. So eventually it worked out, and he was like, can I have your boss's number? And I gave him my number. And
now you work for Icona Pro.
I do.
In Pacific City.
Yeah.
Which is right on the coast.
Yep.
I mean, you can't get any closer to the coast than that.
It's one, I love
Gorgeous
it.
town.
And are you awesome. From there, or are you from here? Did you move out,
I grew up in Canby.
Oh, yeah. Right here.
Yep.
Hometown, just like Corey.
Exactly. And my grandparents had a beach house in Lincoln City growing up. And so we would go out every so often as kids. And I just knew eventually I wanted to be at the coast. Didn't know when. being an adult, it just kind of worked out. So I moved, and I actually applied for an office position at Icona Pro. And then it turned out that they didn't have an office position open. And he was like, well, how do you feel about being an apprentice? I'm like, well, everybody else in my family does it, so why not?
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah, I mean,
and honestly, they're all successful at it. So I mean,
I've only ever heard great things.
Yeah.
A lot of, to be honest, I can't actually say that. When I knew what my brother was doing, I never actually knew what my brother was doing. Like I knew that he was a low voltage electrician or whatever, and it just never dawned on me how much hard work really went into that.
Right.
A lot of just your brain and working hands-on and stuff. And so it was cool. I called my brother because they offered me a job, and so I called him and I asked him about it, and he goes, it's a lot of hard work, and if you're okay with that and you want that, then it'll pay off and it'll be a really great experience.
So now, how long have you been an apprentice?
I'm 2 years. So,
you're
about a week I'll
through
be a 5th period. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations.
So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, where do you train at since you're on the coast?
It's all online.
No kidding.
So instead of going to like Clackamas, I do online classes for Lane Community College.
Okay.
So all online. I've never had to go in. I started right after COVID hit. So I don't, unfortunately, I would love to go in and take classes where I learn with hands-on. And so if I can't do it.
You're a kinesthetic learner.
Yeah. So I have to read a lot of books, which is really fine and it's great, but it kind of takes the being in front of somebody and asking questions, if I have them, with a teacher out of it. But I'm very blessed with really good LEAs and mentors. So,
and you can jump in here at any time. This is Roundtable, so I'm not running this show. I'm just here. So let me see if I get this right. So what exactly do you guys do? Is it access control, Berg, fire, Berg?
Yes.
What is it? All of it?
All of it.
Everything on the coast needs to happen.
Yeah. A lot of the time, I would say it's probably mostly like residential Berg.
Okay.
And then maybe more like security for like camera systems for a lot of businesses out there. We have a very small to medium handful of commercial fire. Because we take over a lot of like the schools and just kind of bigger companies out there anyway.
And you work the whole coast?
Yeah, we go all the way up. We have a place in Astoria, so we go all the way up to Astoria and then all the way down to Yachats south. And then we actually have a few accounts in McMinnville. So in Salem. So every once in a while we'll come out.
So for those of us that don't know where Yachats is, I have
you
no idea.
You don't know where Yachats is?
No.
So Newport is probably like the bigger, like a more known south. So it's still like maybe not 2 hours. It's more like an hour and a half, maybe past Newport south still.
Okay.
So if you know where Waldport is, it's maybe another 30 minutes.
So I was minding my own business as I do. I pull into a gas station as I'm apt to do, and I look over, and there's a Prius next to me, and the next and I look over and I recognize the driver. I mean, I really recognize the driver, like that is, and then he smiled and waved and drove off. And it was Charles Emerson Winchester, right? The guy who played that on MASH.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
Whose name is David Ogden Stiers, and he's passed away. He lived in Yachats.
Oh wow.
And so as he drove away, so we grew up in the era of MASH, which is Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. So he was the guy who played one of the major characters on there for most of it. And but he could see my face going as I'm going click, 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 click. What and as soon as I realized who it was, he was like, hit the throttle. I got to get away from this clown. And, but I knew he lived in Yachats, but I just didn't realize that. And so the woman who was pumping our gas says, he comes in here all the time. And I was like, and it's like, he smiled at me, but he used to come to Portland and conduct a symphony. He was,
cool.
he really was quite the aficionado of classical music, just like he played that on MASH. So if you ever watch MASH, anyway, he passed away a few years ago, but Yeah, him and his partner lived down there. It was really, really cool. So I thought, oh,
that's cool.
Yachats. I love the coast though.
Yeah.
I really do.
And Yachats is beautiful.
It is gorgeous
So
there.
pretty.
So you get to work the entire coast of Oregon and learn limited energy. And you're young, so I mean,
Yeah.
this is a good career move for you.
It's like I said, it's been really great. I can't every day, like even driving down 101, I could see the coast. Like even today, I saw it and I was like, "This is really awesome." I get like an hour drive. You drive
Yeah.
to Newport, and it doesn't matter because it's beautiful. So even crappy weather, because it's the coast,
It's the coast.
it's still beautiful.
So I did a round table, well, and an interview a couple of weeks ago with a guy who surfs. Have you tried surfing or boogie boarding yet?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I had a friend that taught me how to surf, and I'm actually a scuba diver.
Get
I grew
out.
up scuba diving, and so surfing was not my favorite. I'd almost rather see everything under the water than be like, oh my gosh, there's a shark under me. I'm sure.
So you're not just living at the coast, you're actually living.
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing stuff.
Yeah, I have a golden retriever, and so we're always at. I mean, when we play on the beach, and we take advantage as much as we can, and we're locals. I mean, I consider myself. I've been there for like 2 years now. So
Yeah, you're local.
I deal with the traffic in the touristy season, and so yeah.
What traffic?
Yeah, what traffic?
Well, Pacific
man.
City is all.
Oh, no, it's a big hub.
It's all like.
There's a
I
lot of
mean,
traffic
that's
through
all
there.
the dories.
Well, and
Dories go out of
it's
there.
growing. I mean,
Yeah.
like everywhere, every city, every town is getting bigger and bigger. Everybody's repainting and construction, and it's great. It's a lot, but
Good for business.
it's great
good
for
for
business.
business.
Yes.
And people are moving here because there's water. There's no water in California, so they're all coming up here. I get
Why is there
that.
no water in California?
Beats me. Maybe you shouldn't move to a desert. What do I know? having lived there for 26 of my 50,
Like logic
8
doesn't
now
take precedence.
it was Southern California is a different place. I mean,
Yes,
I
it
grew up
is.
just north of the border, pretty much. In southern,
I think we have family there too. Actually.
I wouldn't doubt it. There's a
Yeah.
lot of Clawsons.
Yeah.
So,
We're everywhere.
but no, I grew up in Ocean Beach, El Cajon, Oceanside. I mean, all over San Diego County. So it's like, yeah.
So Jessica, I've got a question for you. What is your favorite system to work on? Like, what's that system that just draws you in, like you want to learn more and you just love working on it?
I really been enjoying. Well, we do a lot of Honeywell right now,
Mhm.
so for security, and I've been enjoying just learning more of like the programming itself. So I'll go in and like, we have a girl in the office that actually does a lot of our programming for us. So if I like send her a zone list, she can just update it. But I like to go in and actually do it. So I get really excited when I get to kind of take over, and I can tell like where my confidence has been building, and I can just go in and do it. The other thing that I really like is I like taking over camera systems and networking. I don't not
Nice.
great at it right now, but again, when you have those moments where you've learned it and you don't necessarily need help and you can figure it out and kind of walk yourself through it, I kind of like the challenge, and then I like fixing it, and then I like just kind of understanding it and making it work. So like IP addressing and stuff like that used to scare me right away when I first started. Being 2 years into it now, it's the challenge is more kind of exciting for me. The other thing that I really like is I like using my hands. So I started out like a baby. I didn't know how to use tools, was very fresh, very new. And so now I just kind of run and go, and it's been really nice. So
Nice.
anytime like we're doing pre-wires, I'm like, I get to drill holes, and I get so excited. And I've got like tools all over me, and I feel really awesome. So it's just kind of, it's just new, and every day is different. Everything has its own challenges, and I really actually kind of just like the job.
Good.
The job itself.
That is
Now-
really good to love what you do.
Yeah.
And so what did you do before this? Did you just do clerical work or?
Yeah, I did a lot of office work.
Okay.
So I was a lot of what is it called? now that I'm like, haven't done it.
Don't use the word secretary because
no, is all customer support or customer service. So for an HVAC company.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, so you were kind of exposed to.
Yeah, a little bit. A couple years before that job. So, and I've always had like retail jobs too. So like being out front, working with my hands, doing stuff,
and that gives you good customer service skills.
Yeah,
Plus,
absolutely.
So, what's it like being a woman in this industry, a young woman, and learning all this stuff? What kind of challenges have you run into? Have you run into issues? Like, is it easy? Is it hard? Is it something other people should do? Should they run, light their hair on fire?
Other women.
I want more women in the industry.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
I get excited when I see other girls just in the area, and I'm like, oh my gosh, let's talk girl things. And
which is awesome, because we interviewed Anna last week, and I don't know when the episode comes out, but Anna is like, I mean, she's a major hitter in this industry. Okay. She's an EST3 tech. Works at the airport. She works for Convergent. I know there's other, women in the industry who are as successful as her, but I haven't gotten them in front of the microphone yet.
Yeah.
So she was like the big catch for us to go, yes, let's put her voice on the air. So you are a big catch for us to talk about what is going on. Yeah.
Yeah, especially since you are an apprentice and you're experiencing this industry for the first time.
That's cool, because I've not met any I've met other women who are apprentices on jobs, but I've not met any like top dog women, which would be really cool. But at the same time, that gives me like hope, but it also makes me realize it's just a matter of time.
It is a matter of time.
Yeah.
Start getting there. So that's exciting.
It is absolutely a matter of time.
To answer your question, it's been a little challenging. My first probably 6 months were like the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
Being really fresh and not having a lot of skills for this industry, I didn't know if I wanted to even do it. I was like, I don't know if I like this. Yeah. I didn't like not knowing anything. And usually when you start a job, they train you for like a week or two, and then they let you go and you fly, and it's great.
Yeah.
This is like 3 whole years where I have to be handheld through things. And so the first 6 months were really hard. It's been very challenging in its own way for different reasons, like one being a very small company and starting out there versus like a really big company. And then I've also only had like one LEA starting out. And I got so tired of working with the same person every single day. If I had a husband or I had a relationship, I was spending more time with that person than any other person. And so there's just some of that.
It's a good thing you've got a dog.
Yeah. I'd go home and vent, and he would just, such a good listener. Such a good listener. Do
you want to clip a ball?
Yeah. He's like, want to go for a walk and do this?
Exactly.
You walk and talk? I'm like, sure. It's, to be honest, it's been really great. I've had to learn a lot, and I've put up with a lot, probably.
Yeah, so talk about that. I mean, talk about I mean, I don't want you to throw people under the bus.
No, not at all.
But I want other people, and now other folks who are trying to get in the industry or other folks who are interested in it to go, is this for me or is this not for me?
I guess what I would say is with how new I was at the beginning, going into it, I was really kind of just letting my hand be held.
Okay.
I really kind of coasted through it. I let a lot of people help me sometimes do it for me. And as I got more comfortable and my confidence built, I started realizing that I didn't like that. And then you start to realize too, even at the beginning, like women know like when guys are being like guys. And so it's really easy to want to just yell at them and be like, stop. If I was a dude, you wouldn't be helping me. And so it went from just noticing a lot of that to having to finally say something. And so it's just small stuff. It's like guys holding screws for you.
That's an independence thing that you had to kind of
100%
say, look, I'm not
Yep.
I'm not some sort of.
Yeah. Well, and you know, for me, and not all women are like this. Some women are probably really good at just being like, hey, I can do it. Like, if you don't do it, I won't learn. For me, I was so new that I thought if I didn't get the help, then I wouldn't understand it, or I wanted to understand it fully. So it was always, for me, it was, yeah, show me how to do it instead of just making me do it. So a lot of it was just a learning curve, and I had to realize like what was happening and what was going on for me to really want to take control.
Okay.
And so it's still, even 2 years in, same people, I still have to hone in on those guys and be like, listen, if I were a dude, you wouldn't be helping me, or hey, I've got this, go do that. So unfortunately, there are times being a woman in this industry, it almost feels like you have to kind of manage that time better than your LEA is going to. Or at times you have to manhandle the situation, or manhandle them and be like, listen, go away. Like, I can do it. Go
Do
away. It sucks.
Tell 'em how it
I'm
is.
not laughing at you,
You
kid.
know?
I think you hit it right on the head. You
Yeah.
hit it right on. You couldn't.
And again, if I were a guy, you wouldn't even be here.
do you
So,
think I helped Colton?
Yeah.
Not at all.
Oh, you
You're
don't?
on
Oh,
your
okay.
own.
Maybe once.
I'll pull
There
your
was that
beard.
one.
Get out. No, but that's a really good point. I mean, you really summed it up pretty well.
And again, I think it's always going to be that way, because I think they want to, it's like a natural instinct to want to help women.
Well, it absolutely is an
100%.
instinct.
Yeah, I don't deny that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
love that. There are times where I'll take it, or I'll be completely honest. There are times where, like, if I'm drilling a hole and I can't get the right, like, muscle or anything into it, I sometimes need help, and it drives me absolutely nuts to ask for it. But this industry is also where I'm learning you can't be so proud and prideful that you can't ask for help too at times, especially when you're given that.
That brought a tear to my eye.
Oh.
It really did.
Oh.
I mean, I've been in this industry a long time. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. There's times when my apprentice has to help because I can't physically do it. Like, I jerked up my right shoulder.
Yeah.
And there's times when, like, he's lifting my bag and carrying it because my shoulder isn't like.
Just because you carry too much.
Oh God!
Just put too much stuff in that
You should-
backpack.
Yeah.
You should see the bag I'm carrying.
I haven't seen it yet.
Is it a backpack? Because I want a backpack.
It's a backpack,
You want a backpack?
I
It's
want
a
a backpack,
backpack.
so bad.
and it is
So tired of
heavy.
my.
It weighs
bag.
what you weigh. I'm not kidding you. Yeah, it's heavy. And I
Not
put
want
it
a
on,
backpack,
and
no.
I always put it on like one shoulder, my strong shoulder, which is my left shoulder. Halfwattpod.
There we go.
See? Yeah. But it's
We're designing a backpack.
because I walk a lot.
Yeah.
We drive to the building we're going to go to, and then we
Right.
walk in there and do our work. But and my apprentice is now carrying a backpack or two, depends on what he's going to do. And so we got out of the scooter today, and he grabbed mine, and I grabbed his. I'll take this.
Well, so through these experiences, though, it has enabled you to get that confidence, right?
Yes.
And it's been good to have these experiences, however rough they may have been, in the certain situations, because it's helped you grow, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's been some very uncomfortable conversations I've had to have with certain people, and even those have been very helpful, because had I never had those conversations, my confidence would have probably still been less right now. So
Were they inappropriate?
Yeah.
Type? Really?
Oh, yeah. I've had, I'm very, I mean, you know Corey, and you know my family.
I sure
And
do.
So I'm a lot like, the men in my family. So I'm really easy to get along with. I don't take offense to a lot of certain jokes, and even like anything sexist. Like, it's really like you'd have to do a lot to really offend me. So it's usually like personal conversations, or any what's it called? If you like get in my bubble, those are kind of
your
things.
Personal space.
My personal space.
You get too close.
Yeah.
Touchy-feely.
Like there's, like we're all, the guys can do
Once
it.
again,
and nobody's,
right.
being inappropriate with you guys all the time. But a girl comes in and it's
We just don't talk about it.
Yeah. Yes. Oh.
Colton, how dare you?
You guys
What?
do too.
Tell the
You
world.
talk about it. Get out of here.
Yeah, of course we do.
Yeah. So those conversations are, really hard when you have to, you get to a certain point and you get to a comfortability and you're allowed to talk, and then somebody takes it too far and then you're like, well, now I have to set some boundaries. And then that's not just me saying that's on that person. I do a lot of things in this industry too, or in conversation or topic where I could probably be a little more careful too. So those have been some conversations I've had to have, and to keep my job and and it's not even to keep my job. I think it's more like I've worked really hard to get where I am. And because I say something like a guy, I feel like I have to watch myself a little bit more. And so
it's extra work for you.
Yeah, I don't want to have to feel like I have to leave my job because of what I've said that sounds like what you said or what he said. I want to keep my job. I like where I'm at. I've worked really hard for it. I'd rather have a hard conversation to get us back on the same page, to be where we need to be, so we can keep working and I can keep learning and my career can grow.
She's got a hell of a head on her shoulders.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, you really do.
You're extremely confident and brave to have those kinds of conversations, because they could go south quick.
They could go south quick.
Yeah. And just do you actually see a good change after those conversations though?
Yeah, actually I have. It's been like an up and down. When I had them really early on, they were really great. It was all about me and having to kind of reevaluate where I am and then move forward. And that person also did as well. And so that made it really easy. With changes and like new people coming in, it made it a lot easier too. So like
you could,
I could
as soon as somebody
separate
shows up and they're gawking at you, going, "Okay, here's the rules. Okay, we're working. I'm an apprentice. You're an LEA, or you're another apprentice. Stay on your side of the line. Let's get the job done.
Yep.
Set that table now, so that you don't have to deal with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then there might be the day where the other, LEAs that you've been working with since you were starting are going to just start doing it for you.
Exactly.
Just setting that up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because then there'll be that respect.
Yeah. Well, and there already has been like those conversations with new people coming in, and then those people having conversations, and like I wouldn't mess with that. I would leave that alone.
Yeah.
So they really talk, and
that's really good.
That is really good.
Yeah. So it had to be established early.
So did you go to college, or are you just a high school graduate?
No, just a high school.
So you went to high school here in Canby.
Yep.
Worked here and then went down to the coast and got yourself set up.
Yeah, I'm 31, and so the last like good chunk of my life has all been. I worked actually at the country club. I worked at Willamette Valley, so I've been a golfer, and so I've worked around like sports and in retail still.
You golf too?
Too.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's been a lot. Again, I've worked in a lot of areas too, like so golf.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but like just surrounded by men. And so like that's another job where I had to put up with a lot.
Wait, you mean almost all golfers are men?
What is it? Golf only, ladies forbidden, right? Yeah. So,
God, I wish I had video. That's one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time. Oh, shit. You have a hell of a presence. You really do. You're funny. God.
You are just as funny as Corey. Like you're that caliber. This is awesome.
Actually, one of the nicest things anyone said to me. He makes me. He does. He makes me laugh so much. I work with him, so I cry almost every day when we're together.
Oh Jesus.
So
I did not see that coming. That's hard to get me to laugh like that. That was really good. Anyway, so it's got a lot of men in it.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know that. Everywhere.
God, I could just see Corey in you. It's so funny. Oh, man.
It's awesome. Okay, so
Okay, you take over for a second.
I have an experience to at least share with having a woman as an apprentice. I mean, me coming from my instructor background, because I am an LE instructor for the apprenticeship program, I approach things differently with apprentices just right off the bat, because the first thing I do when I'm
Hammer
meeting
time.
no, whip you into shape. Follow these rules. No, so I try to figure out how the apprentice learns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, figure out, are you a hands-on learner? Are you a visual learner? Or are you like just an audio or bookworm learner? You know, so I figure that out, and then I cater how I teach to those apprentices, because if I can cater to them, then they're gonna pick it up quicker. And so with this apprentice, her being female, I approached it the same way as I approach every other apprentice.
Right.
So I mean, I feel like that's a special situation in this industry, because I don't technically think of her as like a woman like most people would.
You just think apprentice.
She's an apprentice. Yes, she's female. So what?
Yeah.
Teach her like everybody
He's here
else.
to do the same thing everyone else is here to do.
Yeah.
Or learn.
And my goal to every single apprentice is to always do what I can to empower them and enable them to learn anything and everything they need to or want to, and be successful at it, because I want them to strive in this industry.
I love that.
I want them to succeed. Like Mike has said before, I want them to be better than me.
Yeah. I want my apprentices. That's been my goal, is that I'm not looking to train an apprentice or an employee to be okay. Right. Like, I want them to stomp me in the ground. I mean, I want them to be better than me. Okay.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I want you to surpass me. If I don't, then I have made some critical error in judgment. And so there's a lot of protectionism in jobs. Well, if I teach my apprentice all my secrets, all my tricks, then they'll replace me. Bat squeeze. I want to be replaced if that's the case. Okay. My apprentice that I'm working with, who I absolutely adore, he needs to replace me. And so each time we're working together, I'm analyzing where he's weak, where he's strong, what I don't need to worry about, what I do need to worry about, make those corrections. And once I know he's got it, he's got it. Yeah. And there's things that this guy does I could not do. Like, he's got, because we do, because it's a hospital, we have extra stuff that he's done for years that he knows, like dampers. Like, he knows how to find and locate and he's been trained on how to make sure these dampers work right. So he's showing me, because I don't have a clue. Like, I know, damper in clothes. Sometimes clothes all the way, air not move.
It has fusible link.
Fags say damper there. But he's showing me stuff. Like, see that little scar? That's from dampers. Well, that's not from a damper. That's from reaching inside of a duct to do some work. So this guy, Chris, is like we're partnering to get to the next level so that he is as proficient as I am. And I will get him there. And then he could just push me off the top of BRB or something. Hey, Mike, come over, look at this. Oh.
Go look at that.
Now I've got your job.
Now I got your job.
This is what you wanted.
Push me down the stairs. Thump, 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 thump.
Now that Mike's disabled.
Yeah. You said there are a lot of men in golf, and then I fell apart. Well, tell me why that was relevant. What did the men in golf do to you?
Well, it was.
Where do we send
more
the
just
leg breakers?
Along the lines of I've been around, I think, industries a lot in my life where I've had to put up with a lot.
Yeah. And
in my past I've put up with a lot, and I probably put up with too much. And so I think when I finally got to this job, I was putting my own money into it, my own effort, my own brain, my own energy. And I think once certain things started happening again that looked like what I had gone through maybe in some of my past.
The patterns.
Yeah. Men just thinking that they can say what they want and not there aren't any repercussions. Well, I decided, like that's enough is enough, and my job and my career, they're valuable to me, and this is what I want to do. And to be honest, when I didn't know if I even wanted to do it, like the first 6 months, I thought I've already put too much money into the schooling portion of it, and where I'm at just 6 months in, that I was already telling myself I'm going to finish my 3 years, and then wherever this takes me after that, then I'll sail that. But like I just had it in my head that I was just done. This was about me, and being a woman wasn't going to change where that went and how it led to it. So, and it had never been like that in my past. Like my other jobs, like either walking on eggshells around men or being careful what I said or how I said it. And so like, you don't want to upset anybody. And so I was very, very not where I was today then.
Were you, so you have a nice smile. Was it your approach to talk to these people misunderstood? Like, because you're nice, because you've got these customer service aspects, they automatically assume one thing, and you're like, no, man, I'm just trying to be friendly. Not like, leave me alone. Like this wouldn't happen to a guy.
Yeah.
If I meet you, Colton, and I'm here, right? I don't
Hello,
automatically
Mike.
think, well, Colton, I mean, you're a handsome guy. We got to get together.
Well, I
Like,
mean,
I just
you're
wouldn't
telling
think
all
that.
truth.
That's true. You are handsome, but that doesn't. So is that kind of the crap that goes on?
Yeah.
So you show up and you're like, "Hi, I'm your technician." Like, oh wow,
Yeah.
look at that.
It's a lot. It can be a lot like that. So
I could see that.
like I've had guys even just out loud be like, "Oh, a woman."
A woman technician.
Oh, right. Finally. And then like, you get the weird things where like, well, she's, way more fun to look at than you are. So it's
You should like bring a bottle of beer, just break it, go. Okay.
I want to go.
It's on. We want to go. Crack. I'm here to fix something. I quit.
Well, I think that will potentially change when we do have more women in the industry.
I think it will,
because it's not going to be as rare. So their reaction may be,
and it is because it's
genuine.
rare, I'm sure.
But the way that it just comes out, it of course has that tone to it.
And it's not always negative. Like sometimes it's super positive. I had a customer, I think, I hope, where my like knowledge base was maybe showing more than my smile or anything. Physical that he thought. And then my brother later had gone and seen him a couple weeks, and he was just like booming and was like, I really liked your sister. Like if he used to own a boat in Tillamook, he was like, I would have hired her in a heartbeat.
There you go.
So like my actual, my work, everything showed to him. And that's,
so
again,
if you
it's
have
not
all
always,
that stuff together, if you know what you're doing, you've got your skill sets, you've got your knowledge, you're programming Vistas or you're programming whatever Honeywell product happens to come out that month, and you're all into that, you could say, look, my technical prowess is what we're here to do.
Absolutely.
Right? The rest of it is leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, just let me do,
Yep.
I got a retriever, yo.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be telling them.
I have a boy at home.
I got a boy at home, and which sucks because you shouldn't have to.
Right.
You shouldn't have to.
You should.
Right. The cool thing is though too is I think once you establish those boundaries, which I would recommend for any women to do it, obviously sooner rather than later, anytime. But what happens, which is really cool, is once I was able to like say it and cut those ties and be like, that's not okay, and we need to do this differently, and this needs to be different. That person, that LEA, is also striving for what you just said. Like, he also wants to teach me everything. He's a great LEA, great mentor. Like, I've learned how to do things very efficiently and very beautifully too. Like, it all looks really nice when I'm done with it. The only reason that I feel very proud of what I do and skilled is because of him. So when you're able to like cut that off and be done with it, he gets to then focus too, which is really unfortunate that like sometimes you have to have those conversations because they should never happen in the first place. But when they do, and you have somebody who can kind of hone in, like kind of brings them back and to reality.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
he gets to be the teacher and the mentor that he knows and wants to be and can be. And I think he's awesome for that.
That's really good to find people like that.
Yeah.
It is.
Again, I get to keep my job. He gets to keep his. Everybody's happy.
And everybody's happy.
Great.
And no one's got it. No one goes home.
We got to hone things in
I worked with a guy
sometimes.
who used to, Brad, he used to say, you fill out a hurt feelings report. Right.
We have those.
Yeah.
We've filled a few out. Yeah.
So it's something that you're unique in the industry, so that's super. It should give folks. My hope is that it gives folks a reason because I don't see very many women come through the program. I mean they're truly a minority. So if I think in this last class I had 3 in one class and 2 in the other, and the rest were guys. And so it's important to me. Not just to get women in the industry, but to get minorities in the industry. Now, we generally have a lot more minorities, and I'm super happy with that. So, it's in order for us to become better, our diversity needs to be there. Yeah. We need to have women, men, every color that there is, every type that there is. Of all sorts and shapes, and I can't limit it, to any of that. And that's one of the reasons that not one of the reasons, but because I work up in the hill at OHSU, it's a very inclusive place. And as soon as you get there, they're like, now look, this is the rules. The rules are, if you want to put she or they or he on your badge, respect that. All right. You're not here to judge. Right. You're here to work. And it took me probably about the first 3 months of looking around and looking at all the people. And, when you're working there's 18,000 people that work at OHSU, and there's a chunk of them that work up on the hill. And there's a chunk of young women, like nurses and doctors and resource associates, and just this huge slew of people. And I thought, I would bet you they don't want to be reminded. They just want to be doctors or nurses or research assistants. They don't give a shit that they, that you find them appealing. Yeah. Just do your work. Yeah. And leave us the hell alone. And I thought about that. And I was talking to Chris when we were driving around. I went, I bet you that this is a place that they feel safe in. Besides the fact that we have, a lot of cameras and cops and all that good stuff. And it is a place that you want to feel safe in, but that might be an attractive quality to working on the hill where you come up there and everybody's trained. If you don't like it, don't work here. Like if it bothers you, then this may not be the place for you to be.
Yeah, the door's that way.
And I can see how that makes a difference. And it's like, and I embrace it. I just want to work, man. It's just, I want to be good at what I do. But yeah, that kind of, it's the same damn thing. You just want to work.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
If anything ever comes up, I'm like, can we just work today?
Yeah. Can we just
like to do that?
Sometimes it's hard to even just do that on a normal day.
Yeah.
Let's just work.
Yeah, because some days you just don't want to work either.
Well, I do want to add one last thing.
I'm just going to read this and then I'll put it in. So go ahead. Do your thing.
Finding mentors is a huge benefit in this industry, especially ones that just kind of like blow you away with how much they care and how much knowledge they want to empower you with. I know it'd be hard to believe, but I had several mentors as an apprentice and a journeyman. Mike Brooks was one of them. Like I was his student and I stayed in touch with him for the entire time. Yeah. Like all the way through the apprenticeship program, after the apprenticeship program, until we worked together. we'd communicate. I'd ask him questions.
all the time.
You'd ask me questions. Yeah. We'd bounce things off of each other.
It's one of the reasons why I try to answer my phone, and when I get the hi, we've been trying to reach you. It takes every bit of self-control I have not to chuck it off the ceiling, out the wall. I'm just like, this phone is for people, humans to call me, not non-humans to try to sell me something. I'm going to get on an elevator, and it's going to stop between floors, and on that elevator is going to be the guy who does that for a living. And I'm just gonna go, this is your unlucky day. My lucky day. But it's sure. What did you do for a living? Since we're stuck on this elevator. Oh, you know those automatic robocalls coming? I sure do. Exactly what those are. But anyway, I digress. It's one of those things where I've given my number out, my old number and this number, to everybody. Like, I don't hide from it. Like, I want you to call. When you're stuck on a roof, and I've had a couple of these times where this has happened. A guy called me up and go, I don't want to call my boss. What the hell am I doing wrong? Oh, tell me what's happening. Give me the picture. And they'll tell me what's happening, and I can verbally put it together in my head and go, oh, I'll try this. Oh, shit, that worked. Okay. Whew. Good. Yeah. Have a nice day. Click. You know? Yeah. Even my first apprentice, who's obviously long since turned out, he's also he's an operations manager now. We were at a conference together, and we hadn't seen each other in years. And I took a call, stepped out of the room to talk to this guy, and he overheard the conversation and said, tell him to do this. And that was the issue. That was the issue. The issue was the guy hadn't put the lid back on the duct detector, and the new system sensor duct detectors, you have to have the lid on. There's tamper in it. And he goes, tell him to put the lid on it. I'm like, okay, put the lid on it. He goes, hey, it works. Hey, it works. All right, that was it. Move the data. I don't care how the data gets there. Get the data to the tech. Yeah. And the tech will learn and move forward. Yeah. That's the most critical thing.
Yeah. And like for my career, like I mean, I've had some real awesome luck, but it has been mainly due to advice and networking from my mentors in my career. Yeah. And having those people is just a huge benefit. My career wouldn't be where it is today if I didn't have those mentors. Mike Brooks, James Spearing, Jeremy Boss for getting me into the industry, Jeremiah Teach for teaching me the fundamentals of my foundation. Mm-hmm. That's the technician, the journeyman who gave me my foundation. Jeremiah Teach.
So I'm a avid reader of history. I love mostly World War II because I'm nuts, but I really like that. But one of the books I read was on the atomic bomb, how the atomic bomb came about, and all of the. It's a Richard Rhodes book. If you've got time and you want to read a good 800-page book, both of his on the making of the atomic bomb and the making of the super are both phenomenal books. It goes into the science behind it, and it talks about doctors teaching apprentices who were going to get their doctorates in the university system in Europe. I never went to college worth a darn. I mean, maybe a couple nights at community college, but never a couple terms, but not really college. So I don't know. I just don't know how college works. And I know people who've got all kinds of degrees. I'm not one of them. So reading this book about how they set all these things up was, you went underneath a doctor and you studied under that doctor until that doctor felt that you were ready to go to the next level, that you could then write a thesis and or however your theory, and then write your thesis and then defend it. So that process is still used. It's not used. But it was not uncommon for an undergraduate to go in and work under a doctor for years, plural, and then come out a PhD. There was no, you got your master's, and then you threw another wad of cash at it, and then you got your, you did your doctoral thesis and got your PhD. There's still that time factor in there that can last as long as it needs to. But the process was like a stonemason teaching an apprentice how to be a stonemason. I have to teach you every way that you're going to work with stone before I know I'm going to say that you are a master mason, flat out. The same thing happens in the electrical trade. I work with a guy I knew was an apprentice for IBW when I was up on the hill. And when I came back, because I had a long stint away from it, I came back, and he's still there, but he runs the show now. Like, he runs the show. So he was an apprentice then. Now he's it. He's the guy up on the hill. He has overseen the installation of most of the fire panels, all the new stuff up there, and it is unbelievably good. It is so good, the way he did what he did and the way he taught those people to do what he did, that it is jaw-dropping. The love that this guy has for his craft, because he's not doing high voltage work often. He's mostly doing fire alarm work. They do obviously do other stuff too, but he could have gone and worked big jobs and just done high voltage, but he decided to, even though he's a high voltage guy, stay and deal with limited energy, right? So we're talking, and he's been in the trade since he was in his 20s, early 20s. And he's an IBW, and he's a full electrician. So he already knows when he's going to be ready to retire, and he's got, his whole thing, his family and how he lives and how they're going to do, and all, all of his, just listen to this guy. He is, I just was like my apprentice and we left and we were like, oh, man, I mean, he's just got it figured out. He's got his kids, he's got 3 kids and where they're at and how he's putting it all together. I did not have that at 20. I didn't have it at 31, right? And now I'm looking at that going, look at the structure that this guy set up for his own life. And IBW did that and helped him make this career, this path. I mean, you couldn't ask for any more. What the hell's a degree going to do you? I'm not knocking degrees. I'm not. Don't take me the wrong way. But this guy's a craftsman's craftsman. He goes, yeah, and when I'm not here, I work at home. I got things to do at house. We got all this property, and we have Christmas trees here, and we've got a motocross track here, and a shooting range, and we shoot ski, and I hunt, and yeah. I mean, he's just completely dialed in. Wow. And we both looked at him and went, like, I don't have any of that.
Yeah, nope.
Well, I mean, I have my little career and I have my space, but I don't have, and look at you. Now you're scuba dive, you've surfed, you live on the coast, you've got this career, you've done all these other things. Now you're channeling your time here. You are about ready to make a huge life change.
Yep.
I mean,
moving to Oklahoma, that's a pretty big change.
Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah. You ever been there?
No.
But once I move there, we get to add another certification system to that list.
Oh, yeah.
Notifier.
Yeah.
It's a long list.
Well, we look at, because this is his list of stuff that he works on.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and I didn't even get it all.
Not all of it, no.
And what will happen now is that so put it to you this way. EST, he already has EST3. Simplex, he knows Simplex 4100s, ESs, which are the mainstay. So the EST3 is the big dog in the EST world. Simplex is the big dog in the Simplex world, the 4100.
Now, sorry to interrupt, but when you say you have those, is that like you go through training, or you've been in a company that like primarily focuses on that?
You go through manufactured training.
Okay.
So they certify you in programming on that system.
Take for like each program?
So it depends on the manufacturer, but it can take either 8 hours to do the certification, or it could take an entire week, like it does for EST and Simplex, because those are the big dogs.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, there's systems.
I didn't know that.
There's systems that could take you could put in a building and you could do the whole building with them. Like EST, you'll put it at EST in a skyscraper and it'll run the whole damn thing, everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So now
I'm getting some numbers when I leave here, just so.
I will happily give you my phone number.
But so you add this, then of the big legacy systems, I mean, the big ones that you would find nodes, networked, multiple, that the only one's not on here is Notifier and Gamewell. Okay. Gamewell is a big system as well. And there's probably one other that I can't think of the top of my head.
I've definitely heard Notifier. I'm not sure if I've worked on it before, but I've definitely heard of it.
It's been around
a long
time.
Is that only like you said Oklahoma?
No, they're here.
No, they're national.
Okay.
It's just a brand of fire.
Yeah, it's a brand of fire system.
Do they do a lot there in that area?
Well, the company I'm going to go work for is called Fire Troll. So they're a Midwest company, so they got locations in several different states. And the specific one in Oklahoma City that I'm going to go work for is a Notifier dealer. Okay. So basically they sign a contract saying, yep, we'll sell Notifier for almost all of our jobs, and that gives them exclusive pricing, and then they put in Notifier systems a lot. But you have to be certified to program it.
That's right.
Yeah. So like when we worked at PSI, PSI was a strategic partner for EST. Okay. So there's different levels of partnership, and a strategic partner means that you get, the equipment at this rate, you get, all these services that go with that. You could be an authorized provider, a strategic partner, I don't know, adjacent. You could, there's other levels.
Okay.
So Notifier is a big, if you go downtown Portland, it's either going to be Simplex, Notifier, or EST. Or Siemens. Siemens is the other. Siemens is the one I forgot.
Sure.
That small German concern.
Yeah, very small.
Very small. The other 800-pound giant is Siemens. But Siemens but it's all proprietary. So if you're a Siemens, that's all you sell is Siemens. You might sell some small stuff, but that's what you do is Siemens. And they might have a value-added partner that Siemens might partner with. EST in this town, there's Convergent, PSI, GB Manchester.
GB Manchester, yep.
That sell EST here. That's it. That's it. There's only three. There are three providers. There's one Simplex. That's JCI. There's one who sells
for the world.
For the whole Simplex thing.
For the world.
And Notifier, there's Costco, PM, Point Monitor, Northwest Fire Suppression. I know those three do Notifier.
Yeah, that's the only three I know of.
Oh, and ADT. But Notifier is all Honeywell. So Notifier, Gamewell, Silent Night, Honeywell, System Sensor, all Honeywell product.
Because Honeywell's a big conglomerate, and they own way too many companies.
And they make torpedoes.
And conveyor belt systems.
And heads-up displays. That's what Randy worked on, heads-up displays, Honeywell heads-up displays and jets when he was in Arizona.
Camera systems.
I don't know what
Card access control.
So when the pilots fly in the jet, and they look forward, all of the displays, everything they need to see is up on a piece of glass, so that he doesn't have to take his eyes off of the
HUD.
Heads up display.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So the pilot is keeping his eye or her eye on the target.
Yeah.
Right. And when you're flying at Mach 1, like, oh, what's that? Where's my lighter? It fell somewhere on the floor.
My lighter.
As you do.
You see my vape pen? Somewhere up here. But they keep their heads up on that, and so they'll have the angle of the plane and the attack, and then they can choose the weapon, the missile they're going to shoot, and it's got all kind of wacky crap on it. So Randy is still aligning that stuff. Okay, I'm going to read an email. So JT sent us an email at halfwattpod@gmail.com. Now, don't make me spell halfwattpod, okay? But it's halfwattpod@gmail.com. We need more emails, folks. So JT sent this. A couple years back, I ran into a snag trying to troubleshoot magnetic door holders for an elevator project he was helping to finish. And over the course of an hour or two for testing for voltages and various things, nothing worked. I decided to give the wire a tug. And it seemed like it was slack. So I tugged again. And that's where I figured out the problem. The wire came completely out of the wall with a piece of tape on one end. So I shimmied my phone camera into the opening, and there was a fresh wire there. And it turns out that someone decided to tape a piece of scrap wire to help the pull, but never actually terminated the real wire. So instead of terminating the scrap to the mag, basically he wound up finishing that. So
wow.
So he that's what the problem was was like, there's nothing here. What the hell's going on? Jerked it out of the wall. There it is. So he was able to get it up and running, and he says that he loves the show.
So that's awesome. Well, used the most important tool and powerful tool a technician has, their phone.
Their phone.
Their phone.
Their phone.
Their phone.
You have the entire web right there where you can find manuals for everything, cut sheets for everything.
So let's
camera.
Look at my camera. I took a couple pictures of you so that, but here's programming stuff. Here's, and I have one of Colton. There's programming stuff. This particular master controller board, motherboard we had to replace, but that wasn't the problem. So I took pictures of it, so I knew all the layouts, programming stuff. Wow. Horses, because that's my wife and her horses. Oh, damn it. But all these right here, like I'll take pictures. Oh man, now I broke it.
Why would you do that?
What the hell did I do?
I also use it to take pictures of my art.
There we go.
As I like to call it. So, cable management like that on a data rack. I take pride in it.
Yeah, see, look at that. Let me see that picture. Holy cow, did you do that?
I was an apprentice.
You did that?
At Point Monitor.
That's nice work.
Proof that they know how to teach people how to do cable.
They do.
They do. They do. I will never say they don't. They do.
So here is all like just picture after picture after picture, besides all my personal pictures, but pictures of technical issues.
Yeah.
Snap, right? Open up a box, there's a bunch of wires in there. Take a picture of it. That way when you go to put it back together again, you have something to refer to it.
Yes.
Same thing with any fire panel. Take a picture of the panel. That way you know all the layout. Then you can take stuff apart, put it back together again, and you're like, crap, was that green wire on 5 or 4?
Yeah.
Well, you memorialize it.
Yeah.
It is a lifesaver. Like I have a good memory for things, but there's definitely times where I just go, wait, what was that?
My memory goes really wonky when I have to drive home through rush hour, and I can't remember because I'm old. And I go, oh crap. Oh, there's the picture.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah, the phone is a powerful tool, very powerful tool, and I mean most companies provide it.
Yeah.
So that you can just use your company's phone. You don't even have to use your personal phone, which is nice, or you don't even have to have a personal phone.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, JT, very good thought on putting that phone in there. That was a real smart thing to do, and I'm glad you were able to find that, because if you hadn't put your phone in there, would you have found that cable?
No.
No.
Remember I told you about this is like some of the level work that these guys do up on the hill, the Dyna guys. Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then I've
it's
also got
just some
this
of the
picture
cable
right here.
management that they do is just so unique. And of course I can't show the listeners, but this is just, super dialed in.
Super heavy like that. But I wish I could work on stuff like
And this was like
you will.
Yeah.
This was a special situation that I, as an apprentice, this was when I was an apprentice still.
Okay.
I mean, look at that, Mike. This is when I was an apprentice. This is a 4-post
Nice.
rolling rack for Hitachi.
Like
I was handpicked to go do this.
Oh, Hitachi the company.
Hitachi, yeah, Hitachi the company over by Intel, just north in the business park up there.
Intel, that tiny little company.
It's a tiny little chemical plant. So I got handpicked because of the other picture that I showed you guys, that cable management and the data rack.
Awesome.
Like they were just like, you are good at this.
The more
Yeah.
OCD
So-
you are, the better this stuff looks.
Yeah.
Like if you have any OCD features at all, like this is what
I'm not
no, but those who
horribly OCD, but
you're OCD enough, brother. I've
Yeah,
been
enough.
Are,
been
look
behind
at it.
you.
It's
Look at that.
paying off for you.
Yeah.
yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah. Well, like I was given 4 days to do 2 of these.
There you go.
I was given 4 days to do 2 of these. They were empty when I started, and I put everything in. Everything had to be labeled very specifically, and they wanted it managed perfectly so that something could be taken out and put back in. But I did it in 2 days.
I was just gonna ask, did you take all 4 days? I'm like,
No,
was that
no, I
a
did 2
very
days.
calm and collected process?
Well, so I like to be efficient, but I have a different definition of efficient than most people do. So my efficiency is the perfect balance between speed and quality. But the first thing that should always come first in your efficiency is your quality. Because if you can't keep that quality there, the speed does not matter. That quality has to be there.
Yeah, it has to be there.
Has to be there.
Yeah.
So to get a good balance of that takes practice, and a lot of it. Yeah. A lot of it. So I always strive to be good on my quality and then improve on my speed to achieve that quality. And that one right there, that I had practiced. But it took me an entire day just to figure out the layout.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to make it all how it's going to look in your head, and then how you're going to make it look in real life.
Yeah, so I did kind of like a test layout on the first day, printed out every single label I would need and laid it out in like a charted format on a table. And the customer like came out and was like, "You're not very far." And I was like, "Oh, that'll change tomorrow."
Yeah.
I'll change tomorrow. I have a plan. And so then the next day he comes in and he goes, "You done?" I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I was working for, and I'll finish up after this, but I was working for the feds one time on a project when I worked for Western States, and they said it was at the Gus Solomon building. And this guy came down from Seattle. He was like a GS 9 million or something. He was a really high up guy. And he goes, "Okay, you're here to evaluate the system as is, so I want an evaluation." So I said, okay. So me and another technician, we went out and we started tearing into the system, and I started making all my notes. And he came back in a couple hours later and he goes, "Why aren't you doing anything?" And I says, I'm doing it. Just, I got this. Yeah. I know what I'm doing. And it came in a couple hours later and he goes, "You're still here." I'm like, "What do you want me to do? Do you want me to go elsewhere and do what I'm doing, or do you want me to do it?" So he just gave me a ration of crap. I mean, he really did. Like, he was just like all over me. So I got done and I wrote this report up and I turned it into him. And the only gift I ever was given was the ability to write. I can write pretty well. And he read this thing and he went through the whole, he did read it like the day after, like I turned it in and then he didn't read it for a couple of days. Like he says, "I don't think we got what we paid for." And I'm like, "Okay, well then read the damn paper. I don't care." So he comes back. He emailed me from Seattle. He goes, "Holy crap! I had no idea. I had no idea you'd done this." I'm like, "No, that's what I do. Like, that's what I do. I do this for a living. What is it that you do for a living?" I'm trying to be fun with him, but he was like, "Yeah," and it hit everything, every point that they wanted plus some, like a complete evaluation of what was going on. And I thought, well, we'll get the job for sure. It went to the same company who I did the assessment on. They were told one thing. In federal buildings, things have to be Class A. So a Class A on a fire alarm world, Class B is I have 2 wires that go out, and then they terminate it at a device, and I put an inline resistor on it.
Right.
Now, if I bring it all the way back to the panel and I terminate it at the panel, if the panel is designed for that, well, then it's fed from either direction. So there are 2 wires going and then 2 wires coming back to the panel. So you'll have 4 wires landed at the panel or thereabouts. Okay. Now, that's what a Class A system is. So in the federal government, they want Class A systems, and they have really distinct ways that they install them because of the Oklahoma City bombing issue. When that bomb went off, it took out the panel right off the bat. So now they have rules on how that's all wired, so it doesn't happen. It's for active terror. The system that was there was not 4-wire. It was not a Class A system. It wasn't even 4-wire in some cases. Mostly was just Class A. And we're like, and they were told that it was, so they could just come in with a new system and the wiring would be there. And I'm like, no, that's not going to happen. And,
you can't take a Class B and turn it into Class A.
You can if you're good, but you won't be able to do it and then meet the code requirements. So, no. But it was fun. It was one of those things where you're going off of your previous skills, your previous stuff to kind of dial it in. I love that kind of stuff, man. If you throw me in there and say, "Well, I want you to do an evaluation on this," I'm like, "Okay, give me some space here."
Leave me alone for a while.
Stick my lower lip out. Or I put my tongue on.
Let me wet my pencil tip.
Yeah. Well, look, Go ahead. Did you want to say something? I got to close this out.
No,
before my producer stops throwing the staplers at my head.
No,
all right.
I'm good.
So, once again, this has been Jessica Clawson and Colton Reyes. I thank you both for being here at the round table. I'm missing my buddy Gage, but he loves me long time, so I know he'll be back. I can't be any more pleased. I really appreciate you driving all the way from the coast to see us tonight.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
It's been fantastic to meet you yet again.
Yes, for a second time. Yeah.
Where did you guys? America's Most Wanted?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah,
Outside in Tillamook.
Yeah,
no kidding.
at a school. We were doing the security for it, and he was doing cameras. And Corey used to work there, so I was giving him crap. Or we were just talking about
so when you see
Corey crap.
We were giving Corey crap.
Tell Corey I hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
I hope everything's going wonderful for him. So, thanks. Great.
Thanks for listening to the Half Watt Podcast. We always want to hear from you, and we encourage you to email us at halfwattpod@gmail.com with questions or even your own stories. Funny, crazy, or praiseworthy, we want to hear it all. You can follow us on Instagram at halfwattpod to stay up to date on our feed. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and share us with a friend, the best way to help us grow. The Half Watt Podcast is a production of Now Hear This Studios.